Hi, welcome to CoVet, the world's most powerful AI co-pilot for veterinarians. My name is Dr. Mike Mossop, and I'm here to show you everything you need to know to get started with our platform. We're thrilled that you've chosen CoVet, so without further ado, let's jump right in. I'll start by saying that you're looking at CoVet on a desktop web browser. You can also access CoVet through our dedicated mobile devices for both Apple and Android. Anything you do on one device will automatically synchronize to the others. It's not uncommon that in practice I'll use a mobile phone as a portable recording device in the consultation room, but then when I sit down to review records in the doctor's office, I'll do that on a desktop computer. But you should use whichever workflow and whichever devices work best for you. So when you start with CoVet, you'll notice that you arrive on the cases page. And we've got a few cases that are pre-populated here. We're going to use them each to illustrate something different. But when you get started, you're simply going to want to hit the new case button. And when you land on the new case screen, just click the new recording button and start talking. So you can tell that the recording is working by the waveform. I will flag that CoVet is really good at picking up ambient two-way conversation, so you can record you and a client speaking back and forth naturally. CoVet will capture all of the medically relevant details while leaving out any chit-chat. Or alternatively, you can speak directly to CoVet as if it were an assistant. And that's what I'm going to do here today for the case of, or for the purpose of this demo. So we'll say that Mrs. Jones brought in her cat Jinx. Jinx is a 14-year-old male neutered domestic short hair cat. She brought him in because he's been losing weight and drinking more than usual over the last couple of months. He eats Royal Canin soft food. Otherwise, he's doing quite well. We did a physical exam. He weighs 3.5 kilograms, which is down from 4.5 kilograms a year ago. His heart rate was 220. His respiration was 28. He's got severe periodontal disease. I noted a palpable thyroid slip on the left side of his neck, and he has a grade 2 out of 6 systolic heart murmur. So I told Mrs. Jones that I think he probably has hyperthyroidism, but that I couldn't be certain that he doesn't have some other underlying issues like chronic kidney disease, diabetes, neoplasia, and suggested that we send some lab tests to figure this out. I quoted her $250 to run a CBC biochemistry and urinalysis and a T4, and she was okay with that. So we collected our samples, and I told her that I would call her back in a couple of days when I had results and that we would go from there. So I'm going to click pause on that recording. I will flag that you can start recording again. You can layer multiple audio clips into one case very easily. CoVet is very flexible like that. And then as soon as that recording has uploaded, you'll notice a few things happen. So number one, this case has automatically named itself based on the content of the recording. Number two, we've got a recording that's populated in the case content feed. And then number three, you'll see that our tasks have automatically populated. So tasks basically are little reminders or memory cues, and we divide them into to-do lists, so call in a couple of days, or billing reminders, so don't forget these things that you mentioned. You can mark them all as completed and move on with your day. You can enable the to-do and the billing tasks together or separately, or disable both of them, up to you. And with regards to the recording, that's really just step one. That's getting information in. Step two is generating a document from that input. And you can generate from the library of templates. So templates are really important. They're basically different instruction sets you can pass to CoVet. We're going to get into templates in more detail, but you'll see we have 70 plus templates available in CoVet now, all kinds of different use cases across a few different categories. But if you want a quick shortcut, I'm simply going to use my favorite button today. So when I click that, it's going to generate my two favorite templates. So one is my SOAP document and the other is an email to the client. And so it's basically going to generate those both with one click. They should take about 30 seconds to arrive. While we're waiting, I'm just going to click into the recording itself. You may never need to do this, but I do want to show you that it's there. It shows you basically a transcript of everything that was said. You can play back the audio if you want. You can even download this audio clip in the event there's ever a complaints case or something like that. So good to know that that is there. And as we've clicked back here, you'll see that the statuses of my documents are starting to change. So we've now got the SOAP record that is ready for review, and I'm going to click in there. You'll see that we have a nice history, right? Pretty short for this demo case, but we've got physical exam notes. Everything that I called out specifically is bolded. We have also substituted some default normal text. So things like ears, neurologic, and tegumentary that I didn't mention is pulling in certain text that is dictated by my template setup. So you can always change this. You can use that text. You don't have to use it. You can reword it, etc. We've also got an assessment and we've got a plan. And your goal when you get to this stage is certainly you do want to review this and make sure that you're happy with the final record. If you need to make any changes, you can free type in this area. You can also use editing tools. Magic Edit will basically make things longer, make things shorter, make things more technical. You can leverage things like abbreviations and misspellings to correct spelling errors, or in this case, if you wanted to abbreviate complete blood count to CBC, you simply create the abbreviation and it will fix it both in this record, but it will also fix it in all other future records moving forward. So it's a nice way to teach CoVet. You can use some other features here to insert a snippet that's pre-written text that you've authored, and you can actually call that in using your voice by saying, hey, CoVet, use my snippet for X, Y, and Z in the plan, or you can use this mouse shortcut. You can also insert images directly into your record. But when you're happy with it, you're probably going to want to change the status here. So I'm going to mark it as ready for export. You can do the same thing up in the top corner here. That just signals to both myself and to the rest of the team that I'm happy with this record and that it's ready to go. So once you have done that, you will want to export this to your practice management software. And if you have an integration between CoVet and your practice management software, you will have a nice purple button here that simply says export to PMS. Click it and the record will end up exactly where it's supposed to be. So it's a piece of cake. For those of you who don't, you can do a couple different things. You can leverage our Google Chrome extension, which is a mini version of CoVet that lives in your web browser here. And you can do something like click into here. We'll go copy all. We'll move it into our document and simply paste it there. So you can see it moves over with the formatting and everything. Alternatively, we'll close this. Alternatively, there are copy paste buttons built right into CoVet. So you can copy all, which is the full document, or you can copy section by section. And if you have teammates monitoring what we call the export center, they can see, hey, okay, there's 2 documents. I know they're ready to go. Somebody's reviewed them. I'm going to mark this as exported once I've moved it over. I'm going to mark this as exported, and it gives you a nice clean sheet. So it's just, again, a nice central location to keep the whole team up to date. With that said, we'll circle back to the cases page here. I will flag, you'll notice as well, the tasks and billing items here. This is collecting your tasks and billing items for all of your cases, not just one individual one. So it's a nice way to keep track of things. And you can use the select cases button here as well to view cases. You can change it to either a list or a tile mode, but you can take actions for multiple cases at the same time, whether generating records, generating favorites, archiving them, changing the visibility of what team can see it, things like that. So lots of options to keep your day nice and organized there. But let's get into a different use case. So we've shown like a basic recording. I'm going to go into Mia's case here, and here we've used the visit or discharge, or sorry, we've used the medical history button here. So what this does is basically if you get a pile of records, so a couple hundred pages of documentation from a previous vet, you can upload it and summarize it using CoVet. And basically you upload the file there. It will ask you to choose a template, but I've pre-done this for the sake of speed here. You can see if I click into the document, it is a real medical case. We've redacted personal information, of course, and we have summarized that down to a nice concise summary like this. So we've got a problem list, vaccine history, medications, so on and so forth. Keep in mind, there are different flavors of summaries. If you run a different summary template, you'll get a slightly different output. Use whichever one suits you best. Either way, you may want to use this CoVet AI chat button and dive a level deeper. So if you read the summary and it sparks additional questions, you can come here and you can either type questions to CoVet, or you can use this button to speak directly to CoVet and ask it for more information, or to clarify something, or to bring up new information that wasn't in the summary. And really natural way of getting a ton of details on this case. So that is kind of your second major use case. And then CoVet has a very powerful and flexible case architecture. So you can take those two use cases and combine them into more complicated cases. And that's what I'll show you here. This is going to be most relevant for specialty practice, emergency practice, when you have hospitalized patients. But if you look at this case content feed, basically, if you go down to the bottom, we've actually uploaded 4 different documents. We've summarized them together into one summary. Then the veterinarian has gone into the room and recorded a consultation. They've generated a consult report and an email to the veterinarian, as well as a visit summary, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then they've gone on to add additional audio. So like there's all kinds of flexibility in here. The one thing that I think is important to highlight at this stage is that if you use any of your generate buttons here, it's going to use every input in the case to generate. So not just this phone call about the blood work, but also the consultation recording and even the inputs in the PDFs. So sometimes you might want to isolate information, and you can do that by using this 3-button menu option here. Generate from this input, and it brings up your generate from library workflow. But one key thing to notice here is that you've got a 1 selected because we use this generate from this input shortcut. And so we're saying we're only going to generate from this one input. You can select multiple, of course, if you want. But the idea here is we want to isolate the phone call. And I think we've already generated this, but we're going to generate a phone call summary just by searching phone, moving over to summary and selecting that. And there you go. It's going to give us a nice point form summary of our phone call. Speaking of phone calls, I will flag that there is this dedicated phone call feature in CoVet. So the best way to record a phone call is to use this feature. When you click on it, the first thing you're going to need to do is to validate the clinic caller ID number. But once that's done, you'll see this interface. And the idea is you can dial the client phone number here. And what's going to happen is this will create 2 phone calls. One is going to go to the client. One is going to go to your personal device. The client will never see your personal device number. It will instead see the validated caller ID for the clinic. And it unites you on a secure line. And basically, when you hang up, 2 actions are going to happen. It's going to automatically put the recording here. It's also going to summarize it automatically. So this document will land in your case automatically. So that's a more complicated case. Another way cases can get complicated is with multiple pets. So if you click in here, you'll see that we've got both Boots and Socks named. And there's a couple different ways you can do this, but there is this manage multiple patient feature. You can get to that also from the recording selection down here, or this recording interface, I should say. But the idea is you tell CoVet what pets are involved by name, and CoVet, anytime you generate a record, it's going to generate 2 versions. So one for Boots, one for Socks. All of Boots' info is in one record. All of Socks' info is in another record. Information that has to do with both pets will end up in both records. And then when you create your visit summary, I haven't shown you that workflow yet, but basically you click on this button. You can do this in any case, and you can choose the language that you want to summarize the document in. And, you can always use a German, French, Spanish, whatever it is, if your client speaks another language as their first language. And then you can select which cases or which parts of the summary are involved. And then in multi-pet cases, it asks you if you want a single summary for both pets, or if you want 2 separate summaries, one for each pet. You can go either way. Click generate, and it will be added to your case. In this one, we have one that is done already, and I'll just show you that you can go in and kind of review the whole content, edit the content. If you happen to have made a change in your SOAP record and you want to bring that in here, the sync changes button is a way of synchronizing changes between documents. You can email that document directly to a client. Just put in their email address here. You can write a little note. Hey, Mrs. Jones, here's the information I promised. You can set the client's reply to address so that a client who replies will have their email go directly to you. And then you can click send. But when you send it, you will the client will be receiving a nicer looking kind of graphical document. So you have a chance to set all of your PDF settings for your header and footer. You can upload your clinic logo. You can change font sizes, alignment, details about these gray boxes, things like that. So you can really make this document your own so it represents you and your clinic when the client receives it. So that, I think, is a pretty good overview of a number of use cases within CoVet. The last couple of things that I'll flag here are just some of the options going down the left side of this nav bar on the left. First off, when you click on your name there, you obviously have a whole number of features you can get into here. The big one that I want to flag is number one, under personalization, you have all kinds of options, things like abbreviations, snippets, misspellings, which I showed you before, customizing the PDF, the task management, how your cases are named, and custom instructions I'll come to in a moment. The other one that is worth flagging is under clinical preferences. There is a detail setting. So depending on whether you want a super concise record or one that is very detailed, you can change that setting, go save, and it will again affect every document moving forward. In terms of other things we have in this area, so templates, I've mentioned a couple times. Templates are very important. Again, templates are an instruction set that will dictate how the input material is turned into a finished document. So whether your inputs are PDF documents or recordings, it works either way. And basically, you'll see that there's different types of templates. So we have advanced templates, standard templates, and you can create custom templates. You can share templates you have created as well with your team. If you're looking to modify or customize something, I would suggest the best place to start is the advanced template. And when you click into it, you can see I've already made a couple of changes here. But basically, you can expand this and look on an element by element basis and drag and drop things. You can turn things on and off. If you want to go a level deeper and you get in here, you can edit text. So you can do a couple things. You can kind of set different default normal text. You can change the label or the element, whatever you want to call that. If you don't want a line to show up in the event that you don't mention it, you can leave this field blank and click on remove entire line if there's no associated content and click save. And again, this all informs your every record you create with this template. So aside from editing on these kind of element by element basis, you can also do something called custom instructions. You saw that in the preferences, and there are custom instructions that are available for your entire account, or here, this custom instruction refers to just this template. So you can click here and write anything you want. It could be something like put an extra explanation about all financial discussions at the end of my plan record. And when you save that text, just write it in plain English. Basically, it will affect every record you write with this template. There are some other template settings you can access here, like how you want different default normals, different abnormal findings highlighted. And you can always reset a template. You can duplicate a template to make different versions, etc., etc. And if for some reason you're having trouble getting the setup that you want with the advanced template or with the custom instructions, that's where a full custom template would come in. And if you ever need assistance developing a custom template, simply email us support@co.vet and we'd be happy to help. So last but not least, just again, circling back to the idea of teams, you can easily create a team. I would recommend that in general, for most clinics, you're going to want one team for the entire clinic. If you're in a large referral hospital, you might want one team per department, but Teams is the best way to kind of control the flow of information, so you can share a case with a team, and that way anybody can interact with it. Very easy to name the team and just follow the next workflow buttons to invite members via their email address. And last but not least, for those of you who are in larger organizations, there is an enterprise dashboard that will be enabled or can be enabled that will show you all kinds of usage statistics. So There you go. That brings us full circle to the case page. There's a lot more you can do in here, but I think that's enough to get you started. So thank you again for choosing CoVet. We hope you enjoy it. We hope it makes your life easier. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We're here to support you. We have a full team of veterinary professionals on the other end of the line, on the other end of our chat buttons, and the other end of our app to help you with any questions that do come up. So thanks very much, and have fun. Take care.